Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Manjiri Nadkarni, Ayurvedic MD, registered holistic nutritionist. Back today. Today, I'm logging on through my phone, so things kind of seem different, and I'm trying to see how this is going to work out because I'm glad finally StreamYard is allowing me to live stream from my phone. So I've been having a few tech challenges, right? But it's all good. It's all perfect. So thank you all once again for being here. Today we are going to talk about lifestyle management with diabetes. Can you hear me well? That's the one thing I want to ask you because yesterday I had an issue with my laptop and my microphone kept turning off. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen today. So if you can hear me clearly, just let me know. Okay, perfect. That's good. So we can get started. And I'm just going to quickly go over my notes for today because I have a few points I'm going to cover. I think I tried to um, write down all the points. Okay, so perfect. So if you are watching this live, just say a quick hi. If you are watching this as a replay, you can always, post a replay or hashtag as replay. And at any point of time when you have questions for me, just, tag me in the questions so I know that, you're here and you're asking me questions and I can make sure I'm answering you, right? So today we are going to talk about lifestyle management, especially for diabetes. And that is extremely important because, often we focus on diet, but we fail to focus on the other thing that matters extremely when it comes to your life, diabetes or blood sugar balancing, right? And Ayurveda has talked about it. So if you look at, prameha is a condition where we talk about um, diabetes or any kind of those urinary issues, and those affect your kidneys, and there's polyuria, right? So the group is known as prameha. And madhumeha or diabetes is kind of one of the types of prameha. So when we look at the Ayurvedic pathogenesis of it, the first two things that are mentioned are asya sukha and swapna sukha. So having a sedentary lifestyle, and so just sitting all day, not moving your body, just not being active itself is going to contribute you to have excess kapha in your body, right? And this excess kapha is going to block things for you. And kapha is not just mucus, as some people think it's mucus, or it thinks that it's phlegm. It's not mucus or phlegm, but it's the things that can coat in your body, right? So if you're having issues with insulin receptors, excess kapha is going to block your insulin receptors from functioning as well. And even though you have insulin, it's not going to lock into that receptor site and open up your cell to receive glucose, right? So that's why the sugar in the blood ends up increasing. So this is also one of the reasons why activity or having an active lifestyle is extremely important when we talk about diabetes. So asya sukha, just sitting down, just chilling, not being active, being a couch potato, not exercising on a regular basis. So one of the things I see in most people, and I used to do it myself, is exercise 3 times a week or twice a week. But if we're eating food every single day, we need to have some kind of physical movement every single day, right? So at least 30 minutes of your day you can spend for stretching or exercising, moving your body. And at the end, I'm also going to talk about certain things, how certain yogic postures can also help you. So we're going to talk about those as well. So when we talk about the lifestyle factors that are causing imbalanced blood sugar, the first one itself is lack of activity, right? So if you're not being active, if you're being a couch potato, you're not going to utilize, you're not going to need the sugar, right? So if you're eating refined foods, if you're eating sugary foods, but if you're not, your body doesn't need that glucose because you're not burning any calories, right? You're not burning any like sugar, or you're not utilizing it, so your body is not going to require it, and that is when your blood sugar can keep rising, right? So that is one thing that is extremely important. So having an active lifestyle every single day, at least 30 minutes a day, right? And you can pick and choose whatever you want to do. So when I'm going to talk about yoga, the one thing that I absolutely love is sun salutations or surya namaskars, right? So sun salutations are a set, like it's a set of 12 postures or asanas in yoga. and those are, really good for your entire body. So you're going to be able to balance your entire body, right? And it is also like if you do 6 or 12 surya namaskars or sun salutations a day, you'll start sweating, right? So it's really going to, help you with your muscle building. It's also going to help you become active. It's going to help you with your circulation. It's going to help you with lots of different things. So if you just wake up first thing in the morning and do some exercise, that would be the best thing, right? And in Ayurveda we talk about the daily clock. So we talk about, how 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the afternoon is, more a pitta time, right? 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock earlier in the morning, so even before, the sunrise, is more vata time, right? And 2 to 6 is again the vata time, and 6 to 10 is the kapha time. So most people wake up around 6ish, and between 6 to 10, if you exercise in the morning in the kapha time, right, you are going to prevent that kapha imbalance, right? So ideally exercise either in the morning between 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock, or in the evening around 6 to 10. So that could be one thing. So if you exercise earlier in the morning, you get those endorphins, your day starts on a really great note, you have accomplished the one thing that you should be doing, and you have increased your circulation, you have secreted those endorphins which are going to make you happy, and your day is going to be extremely well, right? For certain people who prefer exercising in the evening, if you do it between 6 and 10, you are going to sleep so much better, right? So I started some online classes for workouts, and we have Colin Martin in town, and he's doing classes over Zoom. He's a personal trainer. He's amazing. It's just been a week since I started. We're lifting weights, we're doing all kinds of exercises on Zoom, and I have been sleeping so much better. Right. So I used to go for walks or try to do things on my own, not as consistently. I hate saying that, but yeah. But since I've become consistent, I sleep so much better. I feel I have more energy. I feel more energized, when I wake up, and my day just feels better. Right. So activity, having an active lifestyle, trying not to sit down, trying not to sit down and watch too much TV, binging on Netflix, so try to be more active. So an option would be to hear podcasts and go for a walk, right, rather than watch TV or watch Netflix. And you can do that on the weekends, or you can set up some time, but activity is, one of the main things that is going to help you balance your blood sugar. And it has to be consistent activity, not that you work for 30 minutes or you do some activity for 30 minutes and then you just sleep in the afternoon and become a couch potato for rest of the day, right? So try to maintain that active lifestyle. That's the number one thing you should be doing when we talk about, active lifestyle. The second one is sleep, right? So even too much of sleep can impact your kapha, right? So if you are sleeping too much, because sleep is also very tamasic, so the more you sleep, the more groggy sometimes you feel, and if you are sleeping way more than required, you will feel a lot more sluggish. You're not going to feel as active, right? So not sleeping too much, especially after afternoon naps. And everybody has, like with COVID, I was like working on computer and my eyes would get tired, and I would nap like for 15-20 minutes or sometimes even more. But afternoon naps are really bad for you, because they are one of the biggest things that can aggravate your kapha dosh, right? So I stopped doing that, and please stop doing that. So if you're having afternoon naps, ideally try to avoid those, because they're going to create a lot of issues. And unless you're really weak or tired, or in the summertime you can take, if it's really hot outside and your body needs rest, you can definitely, take a shorter nap. But sleeping in the afternoon again is going to create that kapha imbalance, right? And most issues with kapha aggravation, kapha imbalance, can also lead to type 2 diabetes. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm going to look at some of the questions. So Usha ji saying nice hero, thank you so much. So those are the lifestyle factors, right? Asya Sukh is just sitting down, and Swapna Sukh is sleeping too much. So those are two of the main factors. The other factor when it comes to diabetes is excess stress, right? So if you are going through a lot of emotional stress, that takes a toll on your entire body. Not just your stress glands or adrenals are kicked into action, but also it impacts your pancreas, right? So stress is going to create lots of inflammation entirely in your body. If you're having any negative emotions, if you're feeling a lot of fear, if you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling anger, if you're feeling jealousy, that itself is going to mess up your digestion. And when your digestion doesn't work well, instead of picking up a lot of nutrients from the food, you end up producing what we call is excess wastes or malarup kapha, right? So you can produce ama as well, which is the digestive toxin, and that can also prevent your body from responding to the insulin that you're already making, right? So that's also creating a pathology of type 2 diabetes. So stress management is extremely important. I was speaking to somebody last week, and she mentioned that she's an IT professional, and she has a really good diet. She and her husband have a really amazing, like really clean diet. Unless they go out somewhere, which is once in a while, they're not going to eat anything sugary or anything that's going to impact their blood sugars. But the one thing for her is, she has a really busy lifestyle and a really stressful job. So when you are under a lot of stress, your pancreas are not going to function well, right? And even if they function, your body, because of the inflammation it's creating, is not going to respond to the insulin well. So stress management is also something you have to look at, right? So that is something extremely important. So I'm going to answer a quick question. So Uttamji is saying a nap of an hour in the afternoon at advanced age. So yes, for sure. So when you talk about aging, right, when we talk about people who are aging, what ends up happening is you start having excess vata in the body, vata dosh. So they have said that for women, who are either weak or sometimes they're pregnant and they have hormonal issues, or for kids and for seniors, you can nap in the afternoon, but not if you are active, and especially, or not if you are in the middle age or even younger, and especially for someone who has a kapha body type, right? So if you have a kapha kind of personality, if you have a family history of diabetes, if you are overweight, do not nap in the afternoon time. Everybody else, if you really need it, if you're working out a lot, if you're extremely exhausted, if you're doing a lot of physical activity, yes, you can. But if you are already overweight or obese, or if you have a kapha type nature, do not nap in the afternoon. So that's just something. So going back to the stress levels, right? So stress can create a lot of issues for you. The other example I would like to give is most of my friends who are again IT professionals, living in India, and I've seen a lot of them to develop diabetes by the age of 35, right? So you are working in an unnatural environment sometimes, because most of them work with the US timings, so you're having those your diurnal clock, your day, like your body clock is not set well, right? Because you're staying up all night, and your body goes under a lot of stress when you are doing shift work. Shift workers as well, right? So if you stay up at night when it's time to sleep, your body is not going to secrete melatonin. Your body is not even going to secrete serotonin, right? And your hormones are kind of overlinked or underlinked together. So try to be mindful. If you are a shift worker, especially, you have to make sure you're taking extra care of your health, because staying up at night is creating a lot of issues in your body already. So that's something to keep in mind, right? So make sure you're managing stress, and also physical stress, right? Working beyond capacity is a stressor. Not working out at all is also a stressor on the body, right? Every time you get anxious or feel sad or not expressing grief, you're bottling up emotions. You're also creating a lot of stress within your emotional body. And every time you're lashing out, right? And that's why we talk about the middle path or balance. So balancing your life and trying to see what it is that you require is extremely important, and this could change individually as well, right? So we talked about sedentary lifestyle, so avoid that. And we talked about afternoon sleep. As a kapha type, or as somebody who's overweight or obese, try to avoid afternoon naps. If you really need to have the nap, and if you are overweight, what you can do is you can sit in your chair and close your eyes for a few minutes, but not actually sleep well, or go to bed in the afternoon, or sleep on your bed. And the other thing is, never go take a nap when you've just eaten your food, because sometimes people who have poor digestion, They are going to sit down, eat, they feel extremely tired, and they end up going to bed, right? And they end up sleeping. So then your digestion is sluggish, and because you've slept, your body processes are going to be even more sluggish, and you're not going to digest food. It's going to increase your ama, and that's going to create a host of issues, right? So these are a few things to avoid. Now we talk about exercise, right? So there are different kinds of exercises that are advocated, and the one thing you should always think about is putting up on a little bit more muscle mass, right? And why you need muscles is because muscles have an insulin sparing effect. You know, your muscles are going to burn, they're metabolically active, and they're going to use up a lot more calories in your body than the body fat is, right? So if you have 20% muscle mass in your body versus a 30% muscle mass, when you're resting, a person with higher amounts of muscle mass is going to use up more calories and burn more calories, right? And that's going to prevent obesity as well. So this is something that's extremely important to know, that if you are losing muscle, which is also typical of people having diabetes, right? So sometimes when you see people who have a lot of stress in their life and who are diabetic or have blood sugar imbalances or pre-diabetes, right? The hands and feet or hands and legs are thinner, and then they have a huge belly, right? So everything is accumulated around the belly region, but the hands and feet are going to be really thin. That means that you have lost a lot of muscle mass as well, and that's why you're losing, you know, the weight in your hands and thin legs. And belly fat also talks about cortisol, you know, the excess stress hormone. Belly fat could also be caused by excess blood sugar and insulin depositing that blood sugar as belly fat, right? So those are some mechanisms. So building a good muscle mass is extremely crucial, right? And building muscle mass does not mean eating chunks of protein. Chances are, if you have advanced diabetes or if you have issues, you know, you might have issues with your kidneys as well. So eating tons and tons of protein is not really the solution, but eating proper portions of protein at regular intervals is extremely important, as I mentioned in my yesterday's video. So if you haven't watched the video on, you know, dietary management of diabetes and blood sugar, just go back to my video yesterday and you'll see more about it. But when it comes to lifestyle factors and muscle building, anything that you do with strength training, whether you're using resistance bands or whether you're doing surya namaskars or whether you're doing squats or whether you're doing push-ups, when you're working with your body weight, you will end up building more muscle, right? So if you're doing cardio, that's fantastic, but also try to incorporate some strength training that will maintain your muscle mass and that will also keep you healthy. And especially important for women, right? So this is especially important for women who are going through menopause, right? So I have also seen a pattern in my clients that women go through menopause, and at that time, you know, their blood sugar is also impaired, right? So if you are having issues with impaired blood sugar, you know, during menopause, you know, your body is under a lot of stress, you're not managing the stress too well, and then you could be emotionally eating at the time to cope as well. So that's not doing you any good, right? So try strength training. The more muscle mass you have, the better you're going to feel, the better energy you're going to have, the lesser infections you're going to get, right? So that's extremely important. And simple exercises at home, you know, if you can't do push-ups on the floor, do some push-ups on the wall, right? Do some simple surya namaskars or do certain yogic postures where you're stretching, something like a downward dog or like a warrior pose, you know. And there are lots of resources, you know, there are lots of yoga studios offering online classes right now. There are lots of channels on YouTube. Yoga by Adrian is one of my favorites, right? So you can try different exercises, you can try different yoga postures to really help with even muscle building, right? So it's a big myth that you have to constantly, you know, pump up muscles. You can use your body weight, but you need to focus on building muscle, because the more muscle mass you have, the better calories, you know, you're going to consume even at resting, and your blood sugar stays more balanced, right? So this was the second point that I was making. So back to yoga and meditation, you know, so every single morning, if you build a routine where you start your day with meditation For people that cannot meditate or that have lots of thoughts in your mind, I work with clients having lots of issues with mental health, or they have a stressful life, or they sometimes just have a lot going on. And it's the same for all of us, right? But one thing you can do is set an intention for the day. So if you are not able to meditate in the morning, if you can't spend that time, if you can't sit down for 20 or 30 minutes or even 10 minutes to sit down and meditate, right? What you can do is wake up every single morning, set an intention for the day where today I decide to be peaceful, right? So if you decide to be peaceful, even if somebody is trying to upset you, you're not going to fall into that trap and create a lot of fights with them, right? If you decide today is the day I'm going to be more centered, right? You just try to always bring yourself back to that center. If you wake up and decide, okay, today is the day I'm going to stay calm, right? So then you're trying to stay calm, or today I'm going to stay focused on my work and I stay focused, right? Today I'm going to say be happy is if I decide that I'm just going to sit in my garden and smell all my flowers and just be with them, right? So you have to decide what you really want, and setting an intention, and something as simple as one word, right? Sometimes I write it down on my palm with a pen. So I'll write down happy or I'll write down peaceful, and I keep what, like every time I'm writing notes or working in the clinic, I'll go back to my palm and look at my note that I made myself, right? So rather, you can put some post-it notes everywhere. So this is one strategy for people who can't meditate, but this helps take the edge off. This helps take your stress off, right? The other thing I constantly talk about for stress management is morning pages. We are all afraid of being judged. We are all afraid of people knowing our secrets, or how they perceive us. But if you start writing, journaling, 3 pages of whatever comes to your mind, and take those pages and tear and throw it away, it's going to give you a nice deep emotional cleanse. And then you can create the space to be able to sit down and meditate, right? So that's something you can also do. So that's something about yoga as well as meditation. But the main point, again going back, is try to be active on a regular basis. Don't make exercise once in a while something that I do because it's a fad. Try to make it a part of our lifestyle. And that's one of the difference that I saw growing up in India, that exercise is not really as given as much importance, or at least in the time I was growing up. It would just be seen as something else to do, or in schools, you would just have a physical education thing where you just go running, or just once whenever. It's not a part of your daily life. But making exercise a part of your daily life is extremely important, and not just for your blood sugar management, for stress management as well, and keep your body optimally functioning. Keep your body responsive to insulin. It's extremely important to have a good lifestyle, right? So exercise daily morning before even taking tea. Now that depends. Some people like to exercise and they need to eat something as soon as they wake up, right? So I prefer cardio or any kind of exercise on an empty stomach. You have to see what works for you. But ideally, if you wake up and you just stretch your body, you can have your tea if that helps you feel energized, and then you can exercise. But it's not before or after tea that's important, but spending those 30 minutes. And especially if you have diabetes and if your blood sugar is not controlled, if you're trying everything to do with diet, if you don't have a poor diet, then you have to really focus on your lifestyle. Then you have to really focus whether, I'm walking every single day, but is it enough for my body, or does my body need more, right? If you're exercising well, then you have to go back and see, okay, um, what are my stress levels? So what is really bothering me? Because I'm trying to do everything, right? So it's not just one thing that's going to mess your blood sugar levels up. It could be multiple factors too sometimes when it comes to people. So taking the time to sit with yourself and really try to understand, that's fine. So if you do it before tea, that's fine too. I typically don't eat anything in the morning uh, till 10 o'clock or something. I eat before I just go to the clinic, maybe 9:30, 10ish. but I tend not to eat earlier in the morning because I don't feel great if I eat earlier in the morning. And I always do a fasted cardio. So there's a lot of research work, when we talk about intermittent fasting. Also, intermittent fasting is something that can help um, balance your blood sugar as well, but you have to be a bit careful, because if you have excess blood sugar, or if you are taking medications for diabetes, you don't want your blood sugar dropping too low, right? So if you are on diabetic medications, or if you have excess blood sugar, always work with someone to fast or something. But for most people, intermittent fasting is a really easy and good way. Or try to avoid snacking, between meals. Eat every 3 to 4 hours, but you can have smaller portions. But don't graze all day, that's going to impact your agni, and that's also going to impact your blood sugar levels. So exercise daily morning before taking tea is totally fine. Exercising or a simple yoga routine before bedtime is also great, right? So if you're doing this exercise in the morning and you're like, okay, I want to try something else at bed, you can just stretch your body. You'll wake up feeling lighter. You'll wake up feeling energized. You'll wake up feeling less stiffer. As we age, we all start feeling a lot more stiffness in our joints and in our back. So even doing simple stretches, at night time before you go to bed, try to touch your toes, or try to kind of one hand up and one hand try to side bends, or just kind of any kind of stretching would really help, and that also helps your circulation, right? So that's something for today. So thank you all once again for watching this live, and because I'm here, I'm just going to show everybody a little bit about my flowers. I'm super excited. My oriental lilies are finally blooming. I still have to finish this. Oh, I don't think I can reverse the camera in this. But anyways, maybe this is how you see the lilies. So I have some beautiful lilies right here. I'm trying to get them in the picture. So they're really fragrant and nice. And yeah, so my garden has been doing really well. So I'll probably post another video soon on my garden. And thank you all for watching this live. I will be back on Tuesday for another session. I haven't decided the topic, but I'll be letting you know. And tomorrow in the Facebook group, as well as tomorrow's Friday, on Saturday, 11 o'clock in the morning, we're going to talk about birth control and hormonal imbalance. So we're going to talk about it with Dr. Chetali Samant, who is a gold medalist from Jamnagar. She's also an amazing doctor. She's a very good friend. She was my senior. And I'm super excited to talk about, birth control and how it can create hormonal imbalance, right? So I know lots of people take birth control for hormonal imbalance, but it actually can create a lot more in your body. So we're going to discuss how, and that will be live streamed again on YouTube as well as in my Facebook group. So if you haven't been onto my Facebook group, you can always go to the YouTube channel. You can check out any other videos. I have also created a playlist of all the videos for diabetes, so you can definitely check that out as well on the YouTube channel. So thanks so much for watching this live, and I will see everyone on Saturday. Till then, you have a fantastic night, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.